Today we're going to turn a bunch of this PVC right here into some Christmas arches. So this is what you're going to want. You want the 3/4 inch PVC, 200 PSI. You want the 200 PSI because if you look on the inside, the wall is real thin, and you want the thin wall so the light will shine through better. The thicker PVC, the light won't shine through as good, so you want the thin one, which is the 200. All right, y'all, so we're gonna start with making the base first. What we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna make the base and then we're gonna stake it into the ground because it's all PVC and it's all the same. So once you start making the arches, the base will start bending up. And so we'll stake the base down into the ground first before we put the arch part in to keep it from bending with the arch. So to do that, we're gonna cut 5-foot sections. There's a million ways you can do this, by the way. So this is not the only way. You can make them as big or as small as you want to, but this is how big I made them. So this center section from here to here is 5 feet, like that. And then we're gonna cut another one for that side. Basically, we're gonna make 2 bases and put them next to each other and have strings running through each of them. So this base is already made and we're just gonna make another one. Once you get your base made, you're gonna want to cement it together. Otherwise, when you start staking it down, it's gonna twist and turn like this. And you want it to stay, I have these for support, you know, so it's not falling over. So it'll try to fall over, and what it'll do is this will bend up like this and then it'll end up falling over. So once you get everything laid out, then you can start cementing them together. Okay, so what I'm doing to cut my PVC, so this is another one of the base pieces, is I'm using my tube cutter here. You don't have to use one of these, you can also use a saw, but for these small pipes, this thing works really awesome. So let me show you. So just kind of keep squeezing it and it just cuts right through. Really nice, really handy to have. To me, this is easier than a saw. All right, so this is kind of an exploded diagram of what it looks like. So basically, we're gonna make 2 of these and then fit them together. So we got our cap here. I'm probably gonna drill a hole in it and have the wire running through the cap. Just a small piece. I don't even know what size this is, maybe 2 inches. You can make this however long you want to. That's kind of what it's gonna look like right there. And then it goes into an elbow and then another connecting piece into a T. So that's gonna be kind of like what stabilizes it. And then the T also goes into where the first arch is gonna start, kind of loop around. Another connecting piece, our T where the arch will start. And then our base right here. So that's what it's gonna look like, our base. And then go down here. This is where the first arch will end, a connecting piece. So first arch will end on this one, a connecting piece. Second arch will begin on that one. And then we got our base right here. And then the second arch will end here. The second arch will end here. And you know, that's where they'll join. So we'll have another one right there like that, and then the whole, basically a mirrored version of this going that way, so we can have 4 arches. Okay, so the entire base is now put together. You can see how long it is. Pretty long. It's going to be 4 arches though. So The only part that I didn't cement is one of these right here in the middle. That way I can take it apart after Christmas is over with and kind of have a chance to store it somewhere, because this thing is pretty massive. But 4 arches, boom, 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 and boom. So I left one cap undone here. So a wire is going to go on that side. And then I left one cap open there, and a wire is going to go in that side. So, all right, so for the actual arch part itself, we're going to cut these to 8 feet. So I'll get my tool here to reset it. Just open it back all the way. So this one right here is already cut. These come in 10-foot sections, so I just cut 2 feet off of it. So we'll go ahead and cut 4 at 8 feet. Okay, so I got my arches all cut out. So the fun thing about this is you don't have to be exact. If it's like 8 feet and another ½ inch, or 8 feet 1 inch, it's not really going to matter that much. So I wouldn't stress out about making them super precise. I mean, if they're way off, then yeah, but you know, 1 inch, ½ inch, ¼ inch, not going to make a difference, so don't worry about it. All right, so I got the base out into the yard where I want it to go. I got my homemade stakes right here. They're pretty big, so I'm just going to go ahead and start staking down the base, and we can get the arches set up. All right, so we are racing against the weather as usual, but we got our light strips here. These are BTF lighting, WS2812B. They're 16.4 feet long, IP65 waterproof. I'll show you what that means in just a second. And they're 5 volts. So don't use a 12-volt power supply. So let's take a look at them real quick. So here we go. This is what it looks like when you take them out of the package. It comes with an extra pigtail here, but this one's not waterproof, so we're not going to use it. And so they have an arrow on them that shows the direction that the data flows. So this will be right here at the beginning, since the arrow is flowing that direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off this non-waterproof one, and we're going to attach our waterproof pigtail. And we're going to do that using our handy dandy soldering butt connectors. So these are really awesome. I'll put a link in the description where you can get these. The ones we're going to be using are the red ones. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the head off here. Boom. There. Now we're just going to pull these 3 apart and then strip the ends. So basically we're just going to use the butt connectors, go red to red, yellow to green, and then black to white. The white has a green stripe on it, but you can ignore the green stripe. So white is ground, green is data, red is power. Okay, so here's where we're at. I put the cap on the pigtail first. I drilled a hole in there and just kind of ran it through there. That way we can cap off the PVC. And then I got all these joined with the solder butt connectors. And I just kind of trimmed these down a little bit. They're not going to be exposed to the weather. They'll be inside the PVC. So I'm not super worried about how waterproof those are. Maybe I'll regret that later, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to leave them like that. You can probably put some heat shrink or hot glue on the end of them if you're worried about that, or some silicone. So I'm just going to leave it like that for now. And then this end, I'm just going to leave it. So let's go ahead and put them in the arches. Okay, so I fished some wire in there, and I'm just going to tape it together like this, and then pull it back through. All right, so I fed the lights through here, and now they're coming out this end. So now we're gonna feed them back into here and then out of there. Okay, so I got my other strip connected to an extension, and then there's a pigtail here. That way it can run a little bit before it goes into the PVC. So let's throw this one in now, and then we should be done. Well, I almost made it. It's now raining. I got all the lights in the arches, and I got a bag covering the end of the wires. All I got to do now is hook up my power box and then run power to an outlet, and then we're done. Okay, so here's the controller here. When I built this, my intentions were that each arch was going to be on its own channel, but I changed my mind. I'm just going to do a channel for 2 arches. So we're going to have 2 channels used here. So quick peek, if you want to see the whole build, you can just go check out my other video. But it's just a dig quad and a 5-volt power supply. It's a 14 amp. I built this one on a budget. Go check out the other video and you'll get all the specs and everything on that and the prices. Okay, so here's a quick look at it from the street during the day. You can see my controller box there. The Candy Canes has its own controller box right there in the middle. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So let's see how it does during the evening when it's dark. All right, so like I said earlier, I'm using 2 16-foot long WS2812B strips. So the first one goes from there to there and then ends here. The second one starts there and then goes and ends in the middle. And the way I have the second one set up as an LED, WLED, I have the direction reversed for this one. So when I have the effects, they'll all be in sequence, even though this one is backwards. The direction is backwards, or it's opposite of this one at least. So when you're setting up the WLED, you can just have one run 180 degrees off, and that's what I did with this one. So I'm using 2 strips, one here, and then one here. All right, so quick tip when you're putting in the lights, make sure that they sit flush on the bottom side, because if they get jammed up, then you can start to see the LEDs like right here. See on this one, you can't see any of them. But these have got kind of bunched right there. And also you want to make sure that the lights don't get twisted in there, because you can see this is the bottom side. You can't see this from the road. That's what it'll look like on the top or on the front when they're twisted. So you don't want that. You want the dark spot to be on the bottom, because nobody's going to be underneath here, and you can't see that from the street. So you want to make sure that your strips are not twisted inside the arches. So we'll go ahead and get that straightened out, but all the rest of them looking pretty good.